Sacha with a round of applause.
Can everyone see?
Yeah.
Everybody see?
Yeah, I can see it easily. Yeah.
Okay. I want to say that. Oh, I can touch it too. I want to say that honored to sit on a panel with such. I guess I consider ourselves the little people. I know you don't think I'm 38. Really, I am. But we're considered a young couple. However, I can say that we've been through a lifetime of experiences, and we probably have been through a lifetime of experiences because we asked for it. Because we're believers that says we're believers. Bring it on.
Yeah.
We can take it. We can take it. He'll keep his word. Watch what you ask for.
Yeah.
So, I grew up in the church. 23 years. I've been everything. I've been Baptist, Apostolic, Church of God in Christ, Catholic, Seventh-day Adventist. I've tried it all, except from I think the only thing I haven't done is Jehovah's Witness. But my mother made sure I was in the church. So I grew up. Basically, you give God all your money. That's how I grew up. You give him all your money, he'll give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Brother Sherman just knew God was.
Yes.
His mother, he went to Catholic church because he went to Catholic school, not because he wanted to be in church. I was full-blown in church. So when we came together, one of the things Brother Sherman would ask me all the time was, babe, you tell him about this faith thing. And I thought I was explaining it really good. But one day I woke up and said, okay, I can practice it, but I couldn't measure it. And I know you can measure it.
Okay.
So,
come on, goddess.
4 years ago, me and Brother Sherman had a really hard time in our marriage.
Really hard. Really? Is that all?
I woke up in the hospital.
I cut a fool.
I woke up in the hospital. I had a separated shoulder and a 20% collapsed lung.
I did that.
Mm.
And when everyone was gone and when no one was there, I said, God, what am I going to do?
Right.
I got 7 children. I hadn't worked in 10 years, but at home, I was a housewife. I was fine with that. But now I got to go out. Wait a minute. But it really wasn't my thought. I was saying things that people thought I should say.
Okay.
And that was, sure, I'm going to divorce him. That was not in the plan. It really wasn't. Well, one thing, I'm a control freak, so I figured I could fix it. However, this was one thing I said, okay, I can't fix. So we do a lecture series called The Science of Getting Rich in Marriage. And we have a book. People think the book is about me and Brother Sherman. It's not. It's about the tools that we use to fix Sister Sacha and Brother Sherman.
All right.
So it's not about us. We're not that important. However, the things that we use to fix our marriage are very important. That's not going to do it. So the first thing we do is we have an agreement. First thing we want to agree upon is that there is a supreme being, supreme intelligence. I don't care what you call him. I don't care how you see it. Whether you call him Jehovah, God, Allah, El Shaddai, the noble, the wise, whatever you call him, her, whatever you believe. The bottom line is that you have to know that there's a thought bigger than you.
That's right.
There's a thought that we grab our thoughts from. Okay? The next thing we need to agree on is that everything begins with a thought. There's nothing that you do. You got up this morning, saw yourself right here because you thought it.
That's right.
You put it on your date.
That's right.
So you thought it. That's why you're here.
Right.
You completed the thought.
Yes.
And the last thing is that money is not evil.
Come on.
Intent is.
Come on.
There's
Come on,
absolutely
come
nothing
on.
wrong with having an abundance of money.
That's right.
In the Bible it says
Abundance.
you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to live life how?
Abundantly.
And let me tell you, driving 2,400 miles, you will see an abundance.
Say that.
That's right.
They talk about there's no resources.
Oh my God.
Just go drive across
Yeah,
country and see the magnificent field of abundance
Yes.
that is out there for us.
Just in this country.
Just in this country. So this is our agreement. Money is not evil.
No, ma'am.
Everything starts with a thought.
Right.
Okay.
And there is an intelligence larger than our own.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Read it.
So we're going to talk about forgiveness. Because I did a lot of research. I did research in marriage workshops, seminars, lectures, programs. No one talks about forgiveness. It's a bad word. My husband jumped on me. There was a domestic dispute between us. In today's society, because of O.J. Simpson, a woman is supposed to leave. And everyone did tell me he's going to kill you if you go back. I'm still here, and it's been 4 years.
All right. All right.
He hasn't touched me.
That's
He
right.
hasn't
Right.
touched me. And the reason is because there's a process that he's given us.
Come on.
And the process won't fail.
Right.
Because he gave us the process,
That's right.
which is forgiveness. He gave us a process to erase pain.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you don't have a living forgiveness in your marriage, you don't have a marriage. Because when you have two people in such close proximity together, you're going to offend each other. Because marriage is a grant. When you have forgiveness, unfortunately, you have to be on a playing ground where forgiveness is needed. And you only need forgiveness when you've been hurt. Because no one says, please forgive me for making you so happy.
Come on.
Oh, please forgive me for baking that cake for me. That was so... No. You only really need to use forgiveness when there's pain.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's life's eraser. It's the eraser that God gave us to erase pain. You literally can erase it, edit it, and put it back together. It's not movie magic. It's God magic.
That's right.
That's what it's for.
Go with it.
And the things that cause us to do the things in our marriages, as we've learned here recently, thank God to the Honorable Business Farcon, little things that have happened in our past that causes what we call engrams. And we will talk about that a little later on down the line. So you may have come here thinking you have decisions to make. You may have come in here saying, what is it that I'm going to do? Let me tell you, forgiveness is not a decision. Forgiveness is an instruction. You don't have a choice. When I laid in the hospital bed and I said, God, what I'm going to do? Allah's my witness. The first thing he said is forgive. My first response was, really? Really? Yeah. That's what it was. Because I knew that if I didn't forgive, I'd become bitter. And if I decided not to stay, the only people that would have suffered the bitterness was my children. So I knew I had to forgive. Well, once I forgave, well, then I had to keep going. Keep going. So forgiveness, God's eraser.
Yes, ma'am.
True forgiveness, not the I forgive you and then you go back and no, it's a thought that you have to carry and it's a process that you have to go through.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not always easy. However, the road of forgiveness is the same.
Yes.
Sometimes the terrain is bumpier than others, but it's the same principles and the same concept. So no matter what you do, know right now, there's no reason to think about fixing a marriage if you have not forgiven first. Because then you're fixing something that you're lying. Because in your heart, you're still like, well, no, you can talk about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about it, but know that it's not a choice. It is something that you have to do. Okay. The thoughts that we hold the most are the realities that we live in. Brother Tyrone just told us that thoughts become things. In the book, The Science of Getting Rich in Marriage, we use terms like original substance. And that's all the substance that fill all these spaces that are not things. You know that little dipper and that big dipper out in the universe?
Yeah.
You ever ask yourself the reason that it's a dipper is because God expects you to take a dip
Come on. Got it.
out of what he's created?
Come on.
Why is it there? Because there's a big dipper
I like that.
and there's a little dipper. When I looked up at the stars, we live in a city and there's a lot of lights. So not all the time do we get to see the stars like we did coming across country. And I looked up and there was a little dipper and I said, why is the little dipper there? It never changes. It's been there. I said, maybe God just expects us to take a dip out of his universe. And how big is your dipper?
My.
How big is your dipper? In the world of Scientology, they have a word called havingness. And they want to know how big is it? Do you have happiness to have, a used chair, or do you have happiness to go into Elder Beerman's and buy a $7,000 chair? What do you think you're worth? Happiness. Dipper. So let's think about our dipper.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you've been to church because you preach.
This is one of my favorite sayings. It's in the book. Riches are not an end to life, but an instrument of life. A man and woman cannot do anything in life. They can't develop their talents. They can't live the fullest that God made you capable of thinking. If you can think it, why is it that you're not supposed to live it? Why can I think about Europe and not get there? Why can I think about Africa and not get there?
Say that. Come on.
You gotta have money. It's an instrument to put me on the plane. It was an instrument to get us here. Like Brother Tyrone said, we didn't ask Brother Tyrone for no money. It wasn't a thought. He's our brother. However, without the money, you can't make things reality. Okay, so there's parts of a marriage. And a lot of times people think of marriage and they don't think it in the three parts. And the beautiful thing about the Science of Getting Rich in Marriage and what me and Brother Sherman were able to do, we're able to take our marriage and put a systematic way to fixing it, adjusting it, so that we, because no one else in here counts when it comes to Us.
Right,
We
right.
have to do it.
Right.
We're not here to tell you how to be married. What we want to talk about is how you think about marriage. It's not my job. However you want to be married, you can be married. Because the only person that counts, again, is your thought. That's it. So, marriage comes in mind, body, and soul. So there's a physical, there's spiritual, then there's the togetherness. So I have to take care of me, he has to take care of him, and then we have to be us. There's no other way to do it. We tried it other ways. We tried to be me, he tried to be him, and we tried to be this far apart and still be married.
That didn't work out.
It didn't. Because there was a communication lag
Yeah.
between us. But when we decided that we were going to fix it, the only thing that we knew to do is run to God. And he was in the center. So when we started walking together, and we got closer, and God was in the middle,
Go ahead,
it became really easy to stand next to each other. Because we didn't want to do it before.
Oh.
Because our thought was wrong. Our thoughts were wrong. They were just wrong.
Sing your song.
He had his thought, I had mine, and we hadn't thought about them together. When they talk about an action plan, when you're in marriage, your action plan will always change. Because what it is really your vision. And what did they say about vision? Rev?
Yes, sir. It
Without-
definitely can. Without vision, the peaceful perish.
What's the saying with your marriage? It's just not for the congregation.
Exactly right.
This is the congregation. They don't have no one to preach to unless you have married people that have children to build communities. Well, a marriage that has no vision will perish. We didn't have a vision. We were believers.
We definitely.
We are believers. Even in belief,
Yes.
you can still screw it up. The good thing about belief, though, is that God's just there to catch you. I got you. Till you get it together, I'll keep catching you. So me and Brother Sherman didn't have nothing else to do but to go back to God. We went right back into our teachings. I didn't go nowhere else. He didn't go nowhere else. We took ourselves and said, we're going to fix this. Because what I told God was there's no way for 10 years we believed, we prayed, we read, we soldiered.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's over in 2 minutes? Because it only
I don't
took
think
2 minutes. 2 minutes? It's over. I don't think so.
That's right.
I told God, if you came to fix a relationship between your people and yourself, it was nothing for you to fix me and Sherman.
Come
Nothing.
on. Come on.
That's right.
And I went to God and I demanded what he said I could. He told me I was owed an abundant life and a happy life. And in my thought, that was with him.
Go ahead.
And it didn't have to change. Society said it should have changed. Society wanted me to leave. It was just wasn't a thought. And because it wasn't a thought, I did go 2,400 miles.
Yes, ma'am.
And I traveled 2,400 miles. And I didn't know that he was coming.
Okay.
My thought was that he would be there. I saw him there.
Yes, ma'am.
And a year later,
Yes,
he
ma'am.
was there. It was a thought. It was our thought together. However, you can't hold a singular thought in your marriage. And as long as you demonstrate it, and there is love, your spouse will follow. That's just how it is. it doesn't mean that he is the man of relationship. However, when he was down, there was still another person in the relationship because it wasn't just his responsibility. It's our responsibility because it's our marriage.
Right.
One thing that we talk about in our marriage, that we used to talk about in our marriage, is that it's not necessary to place blame unless you're leaving. Now, if you're leaving, place blame and go. However, if you're staying, why not have a really good time?
Come on. Come on.
Why not have a lot of peace?
Yes.
Why not really enjoy it?
Yes, ma'am.
Why be married and be miserable? Why be married and at any turn just want to, well, you did this. No, let's be married. Let's be happy.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
show
right.
other people that no, you don't get married and that's not your ball and chain and that's not your old man and oh, your life is over because you, no, my life started when I got married.
Oh, man. Yeah,
Just
come
get
on.
going.
And then it restarted when I decided that there was a certain way to live in my marriage. And that's what we do. We teach and we show people how to live in marriage, how to think about their marriage. It's not my job to tell you what you're supposed to do. If you don't go to Europe, don't go to Europe. That's what we want to do. If you don't want to drive a Jaguar, don't drive one. If you want to, that's fine. Whatever you're capable of thinking in your marriage is what you should be doing. If you can think it, if you can talk about it, it should become a reality as long as you know how to hold the thought. So, marriage begins and ends with a thought. You know, people say, I just fell out of love. You don't fall out of love because you didn't trip and fall in love.
Yeah.
You didn't was walking. I That didn't happen. It didn't happen like that. The same way when you walk it, you don't trip out. No, at some point you had a thought. Do I still love you?
I love you, baby.
I-
Oh, yeah.
But you thought it. And you know what happened? When you thought it and you started questioning, instead of walking towards your spouse,
Uh-oh.
you walked away.
Listen.
It may not have been a fast walk, but you walk. You walk out of love. You walk right out of it. You don't fall out. Because it just didn't happen.
It might take 2
Right.
months, it might take 2 years. You walk.
It's a process. And you walk out. The same way you can walk back in. You hear people say we fell back in love. Well, see, I fell back in love.
Okay.
It happens. Just that way. It's about how we think. And if we don't think about it, it goes away. Because it's not being held in the universe. Microsoft is in Seattle because Bill Gates held it there. The GM is here because someone holds it here. See, someone wants the GM cars. If no one was driving GM cars and thought about it, guess what happened to GM?
They will go away.
It would go away. You see things go away because someone stopped holding the thought and it went away. I'm done with it. So I put all these things on here, and the things say, talk frequently. And Reverend McCord said it best when he says, he said he takes his wife on dates. He thinks about it. So they talk frequently and they make plans, which means they're building their marriage in thought. Which means when, next week comes up, he doesn't wait until, let me ask you out. No, he thought about it days before.
That's right.
So it becomes a reality days later. If you don't do that, you're just walking. My husband said something one time, made so much sense. He said, as a people, we're blown around by fate and destiny.
Yes, yes.
We're the mother and father of civilization. We make destiny.
That's
We
right.
walk
Yes.
into our history after we write it.
Say it again.
Write it first. And then you walk into it. And if you don't think about your marriage and take time for your marriage and plan your marriage will disappear. You can just be two people living in the house, living in the same bed.
That's right.
That's not a marriage.
That's right.
Marriage has nothing to do with that certificate.
That's right.
I haven't worn a wedding ring in 14 years.
I had the money to get you. I'm going to give you one, baby. It's coming. It's coming. Hold me to my word. It's coming.
However,
Did we get that on tape, Steve?
It's coming.
it's not something that people ask me, Sacha, why don't you wear a wedding ring? Wearing a wedding ring doesn't make me married. Because I know plenty of women that wear them.
Come on.
Not married.
Come on.
That's not how I would conduct myself. So it's not the contract. It's the thought. It's the bond of thought. It's the wanting to move together in one thought. So when you're dating, courting, you picture your future. You plan the wedding. You plan your outfit when you're going to go out. Me and Brother Sherman had a date one time in our courtship. We showed up with the same colors. It wasn't planned. It was a thought. It was a thought.
All right.
If you don't do that, that's what happens. After we get married sometimes, this is what happens. All those things are there. Phone calls and the sweet words and all that stuff that happens. And then there's blank spots. Because now you're married. So there's a new road that you got to walk on. You got to fill them in. You got to fill in the blanks with luxury and money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. Me and Brother Sherman have luxury,
Yes,
money.
ma'am. Yes,
We have a
ma'am.
good home.
Yes.
We have friends in all walks of life. We didn't before. It wasn't anything we thought about. But we do now. And this is how we did it. How we
All
did
right.
it. Thoughts of a successful marriage. You have to have belief. You have to believe in your marriage. You have to believe. It's not about, after you're married, it's too late really to ask, is this the right person? That was supposed to happen in the courtship. That's happening in dating. Once you get here to the belief, that's too late. Wait a minute. It went too far.
Okay, you just keep talking.
The next thing you have to have after belief is gratitude. You have to be grateful for the person that God gave you. Now you may say, well, God, I didn't pick this one, and I don't know if this is... you're married, which means it was a thought, and all thoughts come from where? The being that has a thought larger than ours. Okay, you held on to it. You can make anything work as long as you let God help you. You find it, babe?
I'm working on it.
Okay. So gratitude. Gratitude also builds faith. Faith is born out of gratitude. Because what you do, I laugh about it and I talk to people about the Secret, that book, you know, this book, The Secret. I love that book. I read the book, I had the DVD. Sherman will tell you, I was into that book. And then I realized that the big secret was missing something.
Huh.
It was missing something. And what it was missing was the faith. They didn't talk about faith. And it was missing labor.
Right.
See, personal action, labor. You have to have all those components in your thought and in your marriage. And what we found out was that when you have those 4 things in your thought, it really isn't anything but prayer. It's just prayer. When you pray, you have to have belief.
Yes.
You have to be grateful for whatever you've prayed for is coming to you, whether it's there or not. You have to have the faith that you are going to get it and that one that you have asked for is going to deliver it. And then you have to put personal action to it. That book wouldn't be a book if me and Sherman hadn't done something. We'd still be talking about it. Honey, we should write a book. We should write a book, honey. Well, let's write a book. We're going to write a book.
Listen.
However, if we had never gone on the internet, never found a publisher, never put the words onto the pages, Brother Sherman designed the cover.
All right.
So we tried to have someone else do it. Our publisher was going to do it. They sent me hideous things.
I kept saying to myself, black people ain't gonna like that.
We did. We were like, really? And it came to me, I was like, you know what, babe? We're supposed to do this ourselves. Because the thought really was in my head. I'm like, I knew what I wanted. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I saw in my thought. The only thing that I didn't see was the black back. And when my husband put that black back on these words, there it is, black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we have here, the cover really does mean something. So what we have is we have 3 lights on this book. And you can call it the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yes, ma'am.
You can call it Master Prophet Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan.
Come on with it.
Call it whatever Trinity you want to call it. But you have 3 lights. We have one coming from the back, one coming straight down, and we have that big one right there that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the intertwining rings. I don't want rings that laid on top of each other. I don't want rings that were separated. I want rings that were intertwined. Because that's what you become when you're married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if we hadn't done something, we had to work, this wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Okay? So belief. You want to talk about belief and faith, babe?
I talk about faith.
You're not going to talk about belief?
Well, I'll be honest with y'all. I didn't know what faith was. For 10 years, when I registered the Nation of Islam in 1996. And I just joined. Why? Because my life prior to that was Hell. There was a lot of hell. So I joined because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was a man that I felt loved me. So I joined. I just, whatever he told me to do, go. And my wife began to talk about faith. And, you know, I heard many of people, I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teach on faith. He teaches on faith. Just because you're sitting in this room does not necessarily mean you're going to get everything that you get. And for 10 and a half years, I carried a thought I didn't understand faith. I would ask my wife, what is that?
And I would give the traditional answer. Faith
She
is the
would
substance
tell
of
me.
hope for and evidence of things not seen.
I would hear that. I didn't understand it. Until I began to study and read. Until I came across what faith is. And faith is your communication, your personal communication. Each one of us in this room, from my viewpoint, is a God. A God, not the God. A God. And because you are a God, children of God, the Most High God,
Yes, sir.
then you have a direct line to the God.
Yes, sir. Come on with it.
In faith, your direct line to God is your faith. You choose to hang up on him if you want to. I was hanging up on him
Yes, sir.
because I kept maintaining the statement. I do not understand faith. That is an affirmation
Yes, sir.
It is.
to the universe,
Yes, it is.
to God, Jesus, whatever you want to say. You making it, you're affirming something. You're thinking it, and it's a thought. I've affirmed it for 10 and a half years. I didn't know what faith was. But now I know what faith is. Okay? Faith is communicating with God. Whatever's in your desire. I want to be rich. I want to be powerful. I want my marriage to be full of love and beauty. I wanted all of that. Now you got to hope. Meaning you done picked up the phone, called God. God, man, my wife is having problems, man, you know. And he listening.
Yes, sir.
God listening.
Yes,
y'all.
sir.
He in the room with us right now.
Come on.
He listening to this conversation. He listening to how your mind right now is listening and you weighing it.
Yes, yes.
I thought faith was this, and I thought faith was... Well, I'm telling you from my experience.
Yes.
I know how to fix on the car.
Come on.
I have experience in walking about, I don't know about faith. Now I'm walking in faith now. Meaning I got, my phone call has been out to God. It's been extended. I mean, I'm on the phone with him constant. We don't hang up. I don't hang up no more.
Yes, sir.
There is no hanging up with God.
Come on.
How you going to communicate with your God if you hang up on him?
Listen.
How you going to communicate with your wife and your husband when you're not conversating with one another?
Yeah.
When there's no conversation going on. So I conversate with God. God, you know I need money. Why? I got 7 children. Well, I know. Keep working. How you see yourself? Earning money. Why? Doing this and that. However you see it. Faith is holding a thought in God that he will make a way. Then you begin to expect him to make a way. So when you walking down the street, you see a dime. Ooh, that's a shiny dime. Well, that just was added to my pocket. Though it was a dime. See, the reason why McDonald's Ray Kroc is still talked about, because Ray Kroc decided to take a dime out your pocket, your pocket, your pocket, your pocket, and the McDonald's Corporation is still taking dimes out your pocket. They didn't want to take $2 out your pocket, but I sure can get a dime. So they holding it on. That's why we still got McDonald's in our community, because they still taking dimes out of our pocket. Back to faith. It is constantly holding a thought with God, not a pessimistic thought. See, faith is for the optimistic person. It's for the positive person.
Come on.
See, God said to Jesus said, go bury the dead. He ain't on that old stuff. He on new. I know what happened to your marriage yesterday. I know what happened yesterday, but what about today? Do you see your marriage getting better?
Come on.
Yes. Then you hold God today.
That's right. Come on.
See, I was full of anger 4 years ago. So now I'm full of love. I want to love on you. That's my faith. My faith is with God. God, please make me a loving man. Please make me a faithful. And he's making me a loving man. He's making me a faithful man. And that's why I'm holding on. I'm holding on the phone now. When I drove across the 2400 miles, I was on the phone the whole way. You know what I was saying? Oh, it looks luxury going down this road. I ain't going to have no problems. Ain't going to be no blown tire. Everything is going to be. Ain't going to be no radiator leak or nothing. Sure enough, I'm going to ride. Because I'm thinking what I want to think. And what I want to think is positive.
That's right.
What I want to think is success in my marriage. Whatever you do, think of it being successful. And that's faith.
Yes, it is. Faith is born of gratitude. It's also harmony. You know, when you're grateful to your wife and your wife is grateful to you, that's harmony. You ever heard that statistic? They say that housewives are the most unappreciated people. Not if someone's grateful. Not when my husband always makes sure when I cook dinner, he always makes sure he asks all the children, did you tell your mama thank you?
Right.
And
they know to say thank you now. You know, did you thank your mom for that? If they come home with candy, if they come home with anything, the first thing that comes out of his mouth, did you thank your mama? Did you thank God for it? It's funny, Brother Tyrone brought up the basketball thing with the young man, because we have a son. He stands like 6'3" and he's 200 pounds, and he's a rower. He's a rower, and he was the little guy on the team at one point, and he's the only black man on the team. He's the only black man on the team in like all of Washington State. And when I say he's a black man, you can see him. He's the only black man out on the water with a skull cap on, because he said he's cold and he ain't trying to be nothing else but a black man. He came home one day and he said, Mom and Dad, I'm going to Canada and I got an event. And he was on the junior varsity, he wanted to be on the varsity boat. And his dad said, well, do you see yourself successful? Well, the first time he went, he came back with 1 medal. He said, I got a medal. And we was like, all right then. The next time he went, he said, I'm gonna get 2 medals. He said, I'm gonna be the junior champion. When he came back, He had 2 medals, and he was the junior champion. Because we told him, the first thing you do is when you get in the boat, you ask God to be with you.
That's right.
And then the second thing is that you have to see yourself getting across the line first. Not just getting across the line, first. It's not arrogant to want to be first. It's not arrogant to want to be the best. It's not arrogant to want to be successful.
Right.
It's your God-given right. It's your birthright. Remember it was stolen? Why would someone steal a birthright unless it was valuable?
Come on.
Right.
It's valuable. So he
Come
came
on.
back with 2. And that is how we parent our children now. We teach our children how to think. We can spank them and we've done all that. But like Brother Tyrone, it keeps bringing, we're not getting what we want. So what we decided to do was we decided to teach them how to think. So now we go into their thought. Not just ask, your mom would ask you, boy, what you thinking about? No, we're not doing that. We really want to know, what are you thinking and how do you think? And everything. So we raise our children as Muslims. We don't know what they're going to do when they get on their own because that's their choice. What we do know is that we tell them that they have to have belief, faith, gratitude, and no matter what they do, sorry. Oh, we have to talk about this. The little people didn't think I was this cool. Who is that? Who is that?
The hawk.
But guess what we call them?
Party poop.
You want to talk about the party poop?
I'll talk about the party poop. I'll talk about the party poop. When I was a young man, the reason why I asked you to put that was, when I got angry when I was young, when I was 6, 7, Bill Bixby was out. Bill Bixby he played a character called Bruce Banner, who lost a loved one, his wife. And and if you go look at the initial pilot of that show, Bill Bixby was talking to a black woman. Go look at it. And he asked that black woman, where did you get the energy to flip that car over and save your children? He was trying to, and to make a long story short, is that in his desire to become like that woman, when the time was needed to flip the car, he actually triggered something else in him, which made him, whenever he became angry, he became the Incredible Hulk. So when I was a little boy, growing up with my other 2 brothers and sisters, whenever they made me angry,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say that again. Whenever they made me angry, I used to make this sign. I would say, you won't like me when I get angry.
Oh.
I'm going to say that again. If none of you young children haven't seen this little younger stuff, y'all watch how they suggesting to you on these cartoons and TVs. Well, they suggested to me that, when somebody make you angry, you let them know first, you won't like me. However, this is what came out.
Party poop.
On July 30th, 2007, I was holding them back. I held them back for 10.5 years. But see, something came. Because I held on to that thought. Because I used to tell my wife, you won't like me if I get angry. Meaning, see, he changed size. Look at this man. If y'all actually seen Bill Bixby, he was a small man, Bruce Banner. But see, Incredible Hulk changes form. When y'all look at your brother, last year this time, I wasn't going to the mosque like I should. So I lost weight. I lost almost 75 pounds.
Yeah.
However, when I went back into the mosque, I gained it all back. And you must say, why? Because you won't like me when I get angry. Meaning the same thing. So I had to take on bulk to be that. So I'm walking. So when you see me, I used to be bigger than this. I took on bulk. Because when you walk into a mosque, you walk into a church, you walk into a synagogue, you have to deal with individuals that will make you angry. The party poopers. So when you go to the church, Reverend, you got individuals in that church.
Yes, sir.
Party poopers.
Oh,
Meaning they
Lord.
causing ruckus and they causing everything. The party pooper can be called a hypocrite or the reactive
Yes,
mind. The
yes.
Scientology calls it the reactive mind, but it's just a part. It's not forgiving, man.
Yeah, right, right.
It goes back to not forgiving. The party pooper came up in me, and unleashed the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, because listen, man, everything starts with a thought. If you identify with that, I identify with this man. I used to run around the house jumping over there. I'm the Incredible Hulk. What's a thought, man? It became a part of me.
Yes, sir.
So when I began to grab and reach out to God with that Galatians 5:22 in love,
Come on.
well, you begin to see the difference because God ain't this.
That's right.
This is not God. See, when that man was, when you go look at that pilot, when that man was talking to that black woman had faith in God. When she grabbed, I got to give my back. I don't care nothing. And she flipped it.
Super strength.
Yep.
It's because she believed that there's a God behind me.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to flip it. He going to flip it.
Say that.
I'm not going to get rich. He going to make me rich.
Come on.
I can't do nothing, man, unless he do it. Go look at what was it?
Colossians?
Colossians, 1 Corinthians, right?
I don't know. Which one are you talking about?
1 Corinthians,
1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians
Yeah.
3:6. I love this. In that scripture it says, Paul planted the seed. He did something. He planted. I mean, he dug right, planted. Then it says Apollo watered. Paul, say it, man.
Come on.
That's right.
God gave
The
me-
third piece of
Come on.
that scripture said God gave the increase. Listen, man,
Yes.
we can do nothing without God.
Nothing.
We are not going to go up nowhere.
Come on.
When you go outside and see the blade of grass that's going up, even though you can water it, put the seed on the ground, only person pulling that blade of grass up is God.
Only God.
So whenever you want to get better in your life, 1 Corinthians, was it? 3:16, go look at it. See how Paul is the man that preach.
Yes.
He's a preacher.
Yes.
He's telling you these things. Apollo's another preacher. He's telling you do these activities.
Yes.
But both of them has to stand back and say, man, we can do all this, but God is the only
Only
one
God.
to add to you.
That's right.
So whenever you get any addition to you, we give thanks, man.
Come on.
Praise be to God, Elohim, Yahweh, by whatever name.
Come on.
I'm looking at your faces. Because I didn't drive 2,400 miles for nothing.
Come on.
Come on.
See, I drove 2,400 miles to let God behind me
Yes, sir.
help increase you.
That's right.
See, each and every one of you is so important to him that he want to grow you up. But he don't care about your preachers, man.
Come on.
He don't care about your rabbi. He don't care nothing
Come on,
about that.
come on.
If you ain't letting him know that it's him
That's it.
that's pulling him.
That's it.
See, it's okay to love the Honorable Minister Louis
Say
Farrakhan.
that.
He wants you to love him.
That's right.
But what he say is, understand this.
Understand.
I cannot do nothing. Jesus said, I cannot do nothing
What he said.
without who? God.
Himself. That's right.
I myself can do nothing. I can't get better
Come
unless
on.
I expect God to.
Yes.
Yes,
You
sir.
hear me? I'm crying.
Love. Yes, sir.
You know why I cry? Because I hated crying.
Yes, sir.
But I'm gonna let it out, man. Because I dislike homosexuals because they can freely cry. But I'm a man that look at these tears.
Yes, sir.
God gave me tears. You know why? Because He want me to let it go. Let it out.
Yes, sir.
Free yourself. Free your brother.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a loving man. And I'm
Come
gonna
on,
continue
bro.
to love on all you.
Come on.
I don't care if you don't like it or not. I'll love you. You can't stop me from thinking love on you. There's nothing you can do. Nothing. So I'm going to keep loving on
Come
y'all.
on, brothers.
Yes, sir.
And go on.
So you have those 4 things in your successful thought, and that's belief, faith, gratitude, and labor. So before I always give tools when I do a workshop, and this is one of the funny ones people think, and it's the way to have a successful disagreement. Because until we're clear of all of life's little interruptions, we're going to have an argument every now and again. However, you can have a successful one. So these are some rules that me and Brother Sherman used when we started to talk. Because we didn't used to have a fluent communication. It was he would talk and, all right, well, and I would talk, yeah, whatever. However, it wasn't working, obviously. So we had to have a fluent communication. No speculation. If you can't use it and prove it, don't say it. It is not even proved in a court of law. No speculation. Because when you speculate, you're making it up. And it's a waste of creation. It's such a waste. No insults. Insults are nothing but you have nothing valid to say. And then it compounds pain. You're arguing, so there's already pain. Because you're having a disagreement in your marriage. Now you're going to throw some insults into it? It's just, you don't have anything valid to say. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. No threats. It creates insecurities. Unless you're leaving, don't say you're leaving. We said it one day. He said, I'm going to hang up on you. I said, okay, and I'm going to call you back.
It did work.
I'm leaving. Okay, I'll be here when you get back. I'm leaving. And he go, okay. So he told me one time, he said, you ain't leaving, why you mad? He was right. I just had to laugh. I wasn't leaving. So you have to work it out. So there's no more threats. We in this for the long haul. You will see me and Brother Sherman 50 years from now, we'll still be married.
That's right.
Because that's our talk. Keep two-way communication. Silence is undesirable. No one likes silence. He will get quiet on me, and he has learned. If you get quiet on me, I'll make you talk to me. However, you can agree on silence, because sometimes you need to take a break. And when there's arguing, if it gets out of control, doesn't mean your voices don't get loud, doesn't mean you don't express yourself. However, there may be a point where you have to take a break. And you have to agree to silence. And then you have to keep your word. If you say you're going to talk in 2 days about it, talk in 2 days about it. Don't lie. Because again, you'll go back to compounding pain. Because if he tells me he's going to talk to me in 2 days, he knows I will be on the couch waiting for him at 3 o'clock, like he said, to talk about it. And if he doesn't show up, I will tell him, you didn't keep your word. So, we use this a lot. An apology does not mean that you are wrong and the other person is right. It simply means that you value the relationship over your own ego. I will say I am sorry in a drop of a hat and mean it sincerely, even if I'm not wrong. It doesn't matter. It's not about blame. It's not about who's right and wrong. We don't do the tally mark, Oh, I won this one. Oh, I won this one. I got you on it. We don't do that anymore. Why? It serves us no purpose in our marriage. So what we do now is when we need to take a break, we agree to it. We apologize. We expect apologies from each other. And sometimes it's not necessarily, because we also do it in our language. And we do another class called the language of love. And it's when you don't necessarily have to talk because you have so many other things to communicate with. And in marriage, you have your own language. The same way when you're in church and you turn around and look at your baby and they're acting up and you give them that look, that's a language. You and your husband have it too. And we show people how to find it and use it successfully. So with everything that we have said, that one thing that we leave people with is that we really pray that your thoughts come true. And you have to watch your thoughts. And whatever you think about is what you will demonstrate. You ever tell your mama tell you whatever you practice is how you show up? Whatever you practice is how you'll show up. So make sure that when you are communicating and when you're thinking, I don't care how mad I get, last thing in my thought is, I'm leaving. I don't think that anymore. I say it's going to work out. Let me give him a couple times. He goes to his garden. I go to my room, and in 2 hours he'll come here and rub my shoulder and say, you okay? Mm-hmm. And that's the end of it. Because what I could do is keep it going. But that's not, there's no purpose there. So make sure that you apologize, okay? So with that, we wrote the Signs of Getting Rich in Marriage with, again, the sheer thought, not to tell our story. We knew we had an amazing story. We knew we were people that God had done something for. And we knew we were supposed to tell it. I am a champion for men when it comes to domestic violence. Because not all men want to hurt their wives.
All right.
Some men just need some love. And anger is a disease. It's as debilitating as alcoholism, as being addicted to crack. I watched a man for 10 years not be able to enjoy his children, not be able to play with them, not be able to enjoy the brotherhood or the sisterhood. And when he decided that he wanted to enjoy his life, I watched God let him get up and walk. And he's been walking ever since.